Hey readers, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel. I am day 2 without foster puppies. So the recovery has been, you know, typical. It's not easy letting them go, especially because we had them for 7 weeks, which was way longer than we were supposed to. So I'm drowning myself in binge watching a series and trying to read when I can and tidying up and cleaning and rearranging and just whatever I can do to distract myself from how much I miss those little hooligans. They were a handful and 10 more, but I really do miss them. That's my check-in for the morning, I guess, as if you cared. But some of you do, I know. So I just had to get that out, get that off my heart. But today I'm going to talk about reading in the short game versus reading in the long game. And what that means is I am looking at my backlist. I think all of these are on my backlist to some degree because all of them came at least last year, but most of them came much earlier than that. And it's time for me to add this kind of to my February TBR. Some of these could fit for the Mardi Gras prompts, some of them will not. And I'm okay with that because I've been reading pretty steadily on in that way, and I will continue to do that. I'm going to finish up New Orleans Morning, hopefully by the time we have our group read. And I have some sprints that I'm going to be participating in. A Mardi Gras Readathon sprint is coming up very soon. So if you're watching this, check out Kat at Kat's Novel Adventures for the link to join that because she hosts that and I join in her gracious space. But otherwise, I really want to get some things off my backlist, and I'm not sure if I want to dig into some really short books or dig into completing a really long one. So this will be my sort of potential pile of possibilities in the short game and in the long game. So let's get to these reads. So let's start with the short game. The first one on the list is The Art of Extreme Selfcare by Cheryl Richardson. This is the nonfiction pick that you all chose. It was very close to this one and Michelle Obama's memoir, newest one, but this is the one, and this is perfect timing. So she talks about strategies for self-care, group support, talks about habits. Encouragement is obviously present with Cheryl Richardson in all of her books. And she's a coach that really kind of brought me to coaching all those years ago. And I would love to get this started in February. I can read just like a chapter at a time, and that would be great. Another short one had on my list for a while, Then and Always. I know I brought this forward last year, probably in a video that was like, am I going to read this? Because it's been a while. I got it at a little free library years ago, I feel like. When was this published? That might help me to understand. It actually has a 2014. It actually has the initials of someone inside, MB, which could be one of my friends where I lived. I'm not sure. I should reach out and ask her, hey, was this your book? How did you like it? But I would like to get this off my backlist or, decide not to read it. But it's intriguing to me. This follows Rachel, who is in journalism school, I think, or is a journalist, and she has a boyfriend, and she loves her work and her life and everything about it, her friends. And then she's in an accident and she wakes up and her experience of life is shifted by the fact that the people she cared about and spent time with are no longer the same as they were. And she's also just not remembering things in the same way that they are apparently saying they happened. I love this cover. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like this muted background of a city that could be, I don't think it's anything in the US, but we'll see what happens. But she has to figure out what the truth really is now, or is it that, or is she in some sort of a fugue? I don't know. Sounds good though, and it's short. Talked about this one at the same time, The Wife by Meg Wolitzer. I have not gotten to this. It is such a pretty bright cover. This could work for Mardi Gras Readathon just because it has Mardi Gras colors on the cover, if that was a prompt, right? Okay, but Joan Castleman decides to leave her husband while they're in the ocean on a ship. and she begins to really just notice what's not working for her. And she has also, he is a writer and a successful one, and she has also really deferred to him and to his career at the expense of her own success as an author. So she spends this time on the ship, I think, recognizing what has happened in her life and what she really wants and what she hasn't gotten out of life. And I guess maybe by the end of this, she will discover what to do. It says it is soon to be a major motion picture by Glenn, with starring Glenn Close. I will check out and see if that is actually true, and then maybe watch that after. This came out in 2003, so it's an older one for sure. But Meg Wolitzer, I've heard, is a good author, and it is short, obviously, as well. And it also is acerbically funny, according to Entertainment Weekly. And the Washington Post says that The Wife is Wolitzer's most ambitious novel to date, which, of course, remember that date was a while ago. Calm, seamless humor. Rage might be the signature emotion of the powerless, but in Wolitzer's hand, rage is also very funny. The New York Times said that. I could use a little bit of that right now. I don't know why. I don't feel like I need rage, funny rage, but you never know. I might. I have had this, I don't even know how long. I think I got it when it first came out. So let's see when it first came out. Oh, goodness, Lori, you have so many books, so many books. 1996. No, I couldn't have gotten it in 1996 because that would have meant I wouldn't have owned it anymore. I don't know when I got this, but I got this. Graham Swift's Last Orders. It won the Booker Prize. This one is about a group of men. So it would fit the Mardi Gras readathon prompt. Four men who were friends for half a lifetime gather in a London pub because their friend has died, and they are paying tribute to their friend in a variety of ways, including going on to bury him, or his ashes, I think. The man who died is Jack Dodds, and it says, as they drive toward the fulfillment of this mission, their errand becomes an extraordinary journey into their collective and individual pasts. And it also talks sort of about the changes in England during this period of time that it's set in. And you know, I love me some England. So, yeah, I love this cover too. These four guys just sitting by the sea, contemplating what they're about to do. It's called A Beautiful Book by the San Francisco Chronicle that speaks profoundly of human need and tenderness. Even the most cynical will be warmed by it. Well, I'm not cynical, but I think that is perfect timing. And again, really short. All right, let's get to sort of a thriller here. A little bit of a thriller anyway. Chris Bohjalian. Never read anything by Chris Bohjalian, although I own two books by this author. The Guest Room, I got also in a little free library. This one is every woman's nightmare. Kristen agrees that her husband can host a bachelor party in their home for his best friend. And so Kristen takes her child or children and leaves them to this night of debauchery. And of course, they've hired strippers. And of course, that's not every wife's like dream experience, right? For their husband. What you don't realize is the two women that come into their bachelor party they did not come in willingly, and they start to kill their captors. I know, it sounds perfect, right? So, of course, their life spirals into a nightmare. She can't forgive him. And there's lots of, it's at USA Today says it's a throbbing heart. Has an edge of the seat momentum that propels the reader straight to the last page, says Anita Shreve, as she wrote in the Washington Post. So, yeah, I love this cover too. I have a bunch of good covers this time, don't I? At least on the short end. So, short book, new author to me. All of these are new authors to me, with the exception of Cheryl Richardson. So that's interesting. Okay, let's get to the long game. You guys, okay. Nothing about this probably will fulfill the Mardi Gras prompts, but what this will do is knock off another book of the month on my book of the month backlist. It will also knock off a book that I have wanted to read that others in my family have read and friends of mine have read and have raved over. And I've enjoyed Andy Weir's book, The Martian, very, very much. I have not read the other one, which I cannot recall the name of, Artemis. I have not read Artemis, and so this would be sort of completing some of his stuff. I've heard Artemis, I can get my hands on Artemis because my son has it, but I've heard Artemis isn't as good as the other two, but this one, they say, is wonderful. So this guy wakes up on a spaceship, and he starts to really, it takes him a while. I started this a while ago, so I do remember this. It takes him a while to come to himself, to be able to stay awake, and he discovers that he's on a ship with a bunch of dead bodies, dead crew people, and he has no memory of what's happened. And it's pretty long, yeah, which is why I haven't gotten to it. This one I just got last year, but also The Long Game, Demon Copperhead. I really do want to read this. It was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, but I feel like, at least it says that on this, but I feel like she won the Women's Prize for fiction with this title because she won like every prize, I think, for this book last year. I actually was just listening to a podcast yesterday where somebody, Knox from the podcast, was talking about having read it, and he appreciated that it's a Southern experience that feels like it's real and feels like it's this, what he would expect as a person who is living and was raised in the South. This is the UK version. I think I got this from Blackwell's because it was different than the other one, but it's chunky. It's a commitment. But I do hear that it's pretty, it moves pretty quickly, pretty fast. Not all of Barbara Kingsolver's do, but I have heard that this one does. So this is also a repeat author for me, but it is one I'd like to get off my shelves for the long game. That would be a long one. The Last Time I Was Me by Kathy Lamb has been on my shelves for a good long time. I have also read Kathy Lamb before. I've liked her. 2008, this was published. There's not any reason why I haven't gotten to this. Not at all. But this one is, let me just read the blurb to you on the flat because also these are deckled edges. You know, I love me some deckled edges. But this is a good way to sort of introduce this, I think. I wrapped up my grandmother's teacup collection and my mother's china, then grabbed a violin I'd hidden way back in my closet that made me cry, a gold necklace with a dolphin that my father gave me 2 weeks before he died of a heart attack when I was 12. And at midnight, with that moon as bright as the blazes, I left Chicago. Then it goes on to say when Jean Stewart stops at the Opera Man's Cafe in Weltana, Oregon to eat pancakes for the first time in 12 years, she has no idea she's about to order up a whole new future. So it's kind of a like rediscovering yourself. She leaves where she's been, goes to a whole new place. Kathy Lamb is really great at writing about women's experiences and their internal emotions and their internal drive and how they sort of go on a transitional experience or journey. I've really liked everything she's written very, very much. So there's no reason for me to have kept this off my reading list for so long, but I have. And so now it's time. And there's a reading guide at the end, it looks like, which is nice always. And she does actually live in Oregon. So that's interesting that she wrote a book about this person going back to Oregon. And let me see if I can figure out how many in the series this is. This is her second, I think, that she wrote in the series. It's not a series at that time, but she's written a number of other ones since. I wouldn't mind getting to read Kathy Lamb to zero, but I don't own all them. And I certainly took my time with this one because I really have had it for a long time. All right. The Sarah J. Maas craze is real. The hype around her new release is real. And I've read nothing by this author. And I got this last year, early last year. I think I got this from the store. And I decided I was going to give this a try because I have a lot of friends who love her as an author. And I was curious, about it. And so I got it. It's been sitting, waiting to be read. This one was published not last year. First published in the United States of America in May 2015. Goodness. I had no idea it was that old. But this is a series that I don't even know what it's called. You're going to have to tell me what this series is called because they all have a different name, right? So the one that just got released is the newest one in the Crescent City series, which is interesting because I live near the real Crescent City. I don't know if it's set in New Orleans, but it's called the Crescent City series. If you didn't know, New Orleans is called the Crescent City because the Mississippi River is in the shape of a crescent around the city of New Orleans. And so that's why it has that name. Isn't that interesting? Maybe that has nothing to do with Sarah J. Maas, or is it Moss? So I've heard some people say Mass and I've heard some people say Moss. I would really appreciate some clarity on that as well. So I'll just send in those comments and I don't know how you're going to make me understand which one is which, but Mass like the Catholic Church or Moss like the mouse in a book I read a long time ago. Anyway, I don't know a whole lot about this, but a girl she kills a wolf in the woods, and another creature arrives to demand retribution. And I'm assuming that this then builds her she goes into this new place and it builds this new world and this new area. And she, I think, falls in love with someone. I see a lot of people vlogging on BookTube reading this author and they just fly through it. And so I thought, well, I could maybe do that because it's a chunker and I have, kind of been intimidated by that, but I bought it, right? I bought it, so I must have wanted to read it. I do like that it has little thorny branches at every chapter. This is just a placeholder bookmark, as far as I can tell. It's also one that I spilled coffee on, so I may be getting rid of that one. Although, look what it says. Even though I'm not a fitness coach, that is kind of funny. Okay, and then this one is, oh my God, I want to get this done with, and I haven't. So this is my exercise for the day. This is the second to the most current book in the Gabaldon Outlander series, written in my own heart's blood, which I did start to read, and I got that far, and now I don't remember where the heck I was and what was happening. So I'm going to have to get a synopsis that will help me read up until chapter 43. And I'm not even sure this is where I left off because I was actually also listening to it. But I usually do try to keep my bookmarks and my, current with where I am in the audio. I just don't remember a whole lot about what was happening. To be quite honest, as these go on and on and on, I find myself having more and more challenge finishing them. I used to just fly through them. The first 4 or 5 of them, I could not stop until I finished. And then book 6, 7, they just really kind of got, I don't know, like you could have done this in a lot last time. And I would like to finish this. It's one of my goals that I didn't put on my goal list. It is one of my goals for 2024. I don't know that means I'll go to bees, which is called Go Tell the Bees I'm Gone. I don't know that I'll get to bees this year, but I really want to get this done. Is this the month? I don't know. It has nothing to do with Mardi Gras. Absolutely nothing. The only one that I would say has any hint of a possibility for Mardi Gras reads would be Last Orders. But again, I've read some Mardi Gras reads and I'm continuing to finish some Mardi Gras reads. And so I'm not worried about that. What I am, though, wanting is to have a pile of possibilities that will guide me because this month I did have a pile of possibilities, but I just kind of went all over the place. This was the dogs really did kind of create a lack of focus for me at times. And our dogs are just so peaceful. Our cat is so peaceful. Like it was just, it was a lot. So the next foster dog, which I don't know, that will be a while because we're taking a break, like Ross and Rachel, but not as long maybe as Ross and Rachel. The next dog will be an adult dog again because we're just too old for puppies and we're absolutely too old for 2 puppies at a time. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm going to be thinking more smartly next time. Okay, so here's my Let me try to lift these up because the long game books are really intense, right? Oh gosh, I really could just start lifting these up. All right, the long game books are 5 of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. All right. And here's the short game, friends. Much easier to lift. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with this one. It's longer, I'm sure, because this was a lot of books to talk about. This was 10 books, 10 books on my long and short game pile of possibilities for my TBR. Let me know what you're reading in February. None of these are particularly love stories, are they? So I might throw one of those in. You never know, but these could be books that I read. They could be books I don't touch, but I'm intrigued by all of them and I want to read all of them. And February just seems like the best month because I didn't get into the first round of the BookTube prize. Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's me. It's all. I put a reminder in my phone so it won't happen again. All right. Thanks again for watching. Let me know what you've read. If you've read any of these, let me know that too. And as always, happy reading. Bye.